Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Lee Snyder from Numberball.com, back with you once again on the Mayo Media Network to talk Champions League soccer. We have another two-match slate on DraftKings this Tuesday to look forward to, including a $70K main GPP. Now, if you tuned in last week, I will be the first to admit that those matches did not play out exactly how I predicted, but that should be expected at this stage of the Champions League competition, the knockout stage. Hypothetically, we have the 16 best teams in the world remaining, so it's going to be splitting hairs between these teams a lot of the time. Nonetheless, let's dive into this two-match slate, and I will try to be a bit more accurate, hopefully, in predicting how these matches could play out. So, the matches on this slate, we have Lazio from Serie A hosting Bayern Munich. Bayern, of course, won the Champions League last year, and they are about minus 140 favorites right now. That match is at a 3 total, and so on paper is the more attractive match for DFS purposes. The other match, we'll see Atletico Madrid from La Liga host Premier League side Chelsea. That total is just the 2, which is very low for a Champions League match or really any soccer match. And that one is a pick'em, really a coin toss, could go either way. So, as was the format last week, I'm going to run through each position here and give you a couple plays, one premium play and one play that falls more into the realm of value, provides some salary savings. And then I will throw in a couple bets at the end, and then we'll get you out of here and hopefully ready to win some money this Tuesday playing Champions League on DraftKings. All right, so starting at the forward position, the number one target for me is going to be Robert Lewandowski. So he's only 10.3K, but this is a guy that normally is priced up, with the Ronaldos, with the Messis in that upper echelon. Most of the Bayern forwards have about the same floor, somewhere in the 8 to 10 point range. And so for me, why not just pay up for Lewandowski? He's the leading scorer on the team. He takes their PKs, and he has the highest implied scoring odds on the slate. So when you factor all of that in, Lewandowski just makes a ton of sense here, playing for a Bayern team that is the only true favorite on this slate. In the second forward slot, I really do think there are quite a few ways you could go here, but if we're talking about a cash or an optimal build, one player I'm looking at is Luis Alberto from Lazio, who are actually facing Bayern. Now, while they are the biggest underdog on the slate, I think it's important to remember here that this match is a 3 total, and Bayern would rather outscore their opponents than play a slow, grinded-out match where they win 1 or 2-0. They would much rather play a style of game where they win 3-1 or 4-2 or so on. So I don't mind taking a player from Lazio, and the thing to like with Alberto is that he takes nearly all of their set pieces, so he's on corners, he's on free kicks, and he averages over 11 DK floor points per game. So at 7K, he actually brings a ton of value there. And if he picks up a goal or an assist, you're going to be really sitting pretty with him in the lineup. All right, let's move on to the midfield position. And my first target is going to be another Bayern player. And it's Joshua Kimmich, or Kimmich, however you'd like to pronounce it. He is a deeper lying midfielder, so he's not necessarily in that attacking front four, but he takes, much like Alberto for Lazio, Kimmich takes all of Bayern's set pieces. Very consistent player with a high floor. He rarely goes under 10 points. And again, he's playing for the biggest favorite on the slate. So you're already getting that 10-point floor baked in, plus potential upside, especially with assists, since he is on all set pieces and is playing with, obviously, all those great attackers that Bayern have on offense. All right. If I could only roster one midfielder on this slate, it would actually be Mason Mount from Chelsea, who comes in at 7.5K. So it's interesting. Obviously, Frank Lampard was sacked at Chelsea. a few weeks back, or about a month and a half back now, and Thomas Tuchel took over. So Mount had been a favorite of Lampard while he was there. He was kind of the golden child, and then Tuchel did not start him in his first match. But Mount came off the bench in that game, looked very good, and he has started 5 straight EPL matches since that time. In those 5 appearances, Mount has taken almost all of the set pieces for Chelsea, and he scored 15 or more DK points in those 5 matches. So that is elite production there that, we only see from guys like, James Maddison or Kevin De Bruyne or Kimmich, who I referenced from Bayern. So 7.K really feels like quite a steal for me to get Mason Mount, given his role in this Chelsea team. All right, that brings us to the defender position, and I'm going to talk about another Chelsea player here. And before I do that, let me just give you a little more context here. Now, Atletico are at the top of La Liga. They have conceded the fewest goals in La Liga, and they're playing at home here. So you might be thinking, okay, why do we want to play Chelsea, guys, against a team like that? Well, here's the thing. Since Tuchel has taken over for Chelsea, their style of play has changed a lot. They've actually struggled to score a bit. They've only scored 8 goals in 6 EPL matches. However, their peripheral scoring has been great. When I say peripheral scoring, I'm talking about shots on goal, crosses, and chances created. All of those offensive categories where teams can accumulate points without scoring. So during this run of 6 matches since Tuchel has been in charge, Chelsea are leading the EPL in chances created and corners won. So that is really great for players like Mason Mount, for example. Now, the other thing I noticed is that under Tuchel, Chelsea are holding a ton of possession. They're playing almost like a Manchester City or a Barcelona in terms of their possession dominance. They've been at or near 70% possession in 5 of their 6 matches under Tuchel. Now, when you add to that the fact that Atletico actually don't have a ton of the ball for a team that's number 1 in La Liga, they hold about 52% possession on average. I think you're going to see a match here where Chelsea might struggle to score, but they should have a ton of the ball, should win a lot of corners, and should have opportunities to create chances and cross the ball. So, with all of that being said, I love Marcus Alonso from Chelsea, who should start as the left wing back at only 4.8K. He's going to be heavily involved in the Chelsea attack. He's going to be in the Atletico final third, and he should be crossing the ball a ton, shooting, creating chances. So I love Alonso and Mount for that reason. I think they can both produce a ton here, regardless of whether they score. And then finally, my second defender play is Alphonso Davies from Bayern at 4.4K. Listen, when you think about his level of talent and the fact that Bayern are the biggest favorite on this slate, it just is a no-brainer to roster him at 4.4K. He's just too cheap there. We're talking about the player who was just named the best left back in the entire world by FIFPro. So I'm not quite sure why he's only at 4.4K. Of course, there is a chance that Davies does not start. Lucas Hernandez could replace him. He does cost 900 more, but he's also a strong play. But it would be great to see Davies in there. All right, last but not least, the goalkeeper position, which honestly is always the toughest one to predict because of the volatility. And I'm going to recommend something here that I do not often recommend, and that is I recommend paying all the way up for Manuel Neuer, the Bayern keeper. And let me give you my reasoning on that one. So during the group stage, Neuer averaged 5.5 saves per game, which is ridiculously high. Most keepers in any league do not average more than 3 saves per match. And then, interestingly, I did not expect this, but among the 4 teams on this 2-game slate, Lazio actually forced the most saves of any team during the group stage. So when you combine those two statistics, I think you're looking at a scenario where Neuer could be in line to make a ton of saves here. And then you add to that the fact that Bayern also have the best chance to win on this slate and get him that 5-point bonus. So I think when you add all of that up, it's a perfect recipe here for Manuel Neuer to produce. Okay, let's get to those bets now. So I took some time to look through a few interesting bets here, and I think I found a couple that are pretty attractive. The first one is you could bet Bayern straight up to win, but that's less than even money. Instead, I like betting Bayern to win and both teams to score in that match. You can get that at plus 185 right now on DK, and I think that's really good value because, as I said, it's a 3 total. Bayern, they would rather just play aggressively and outscore their opponent as opposed to trying to keep a clean sheet. So I could very well see a match here where both teams end up scoring, but I do expect Bayern to win. So I like that bet, plus 185 there. And then next, the Chelsea and Atletico match, as discussed, it's only a 2 total. Atletico, a great defense at home. Chelsea have been a good defense so far under Tuchel as well. I think it could be a game that's played a little more conservatively compared to that Bayern match. So one interesting thing you could do here is you could bet both teams to win to nil. So that just means they win in a shutout. And currently both are plus 300 or better on that bet. So you can actually bet both teams at plus 300, and regardless of which team wins, as long as they win to nil, then you come out on top on that bet. So that's another one I like. All right, guys, that is going to do it. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you go out there and win some money on Tuesday. If you are watching this on YouTube, feel free to drop comments below. Let me know if you have any specific questions about anything I've discussed or any other plays on the slate, and I'm happy to answer that. Just make sure to tag me in the comment, DFS Advisor. Guys, thanks for tuning in. If you are interested in accessing my in-depth soccer content, you can find that at numberball.com, and you can find me on Twitter, DFS_advisor. Thanks, and I will see you next time.